आवाज येतो नाही नाही. हॅलो, असं आवाज येत नाही. Good afternoon. Today I will discuss research methodology and communications. In this subject, code is 105. The first topic, research fundamentals and terminology. This unit main elements is research meaning. What is meant by research? And research methodologies, designs, steps, and planning. हा पार्ट आपण डिस्कस करणार. तर रिसर्च मीन्स द फर्स्ट आहे त्या ठिकाणी रिसर्च मीन्स changes. The research is a simple words meaning something new, physical or conceptual. The word new is the underlying concept in any formal definitions or meaning of research. Researchers have contribution in several ways to our knowledge, enhancement, and understand. They have demystified my series of natures, the universe, and the world around us. Discover the autonomy and functioning of our body. Discover medicines and sugarless producer to reduce or suffering and also increase the lifespan. Provide us with the means of comfortable living in all respect, improve quality of life and map the world to a global village. Provide tools for conducting business and trade in an efficient manner and many others innumerable ways. The first is a definition research. Research means काय तर thought systematic investigations. It is a organized systematic database synthesis inquiry or investigations into a specific problem undertaking with the purpose of finding answer of solutions to it. Research can also be defined as a significant study which, by means of logical and systematized techniques, aims to discover new facts or verify and test old facts. Next, analysis their sequence, interrelationship and explanations which are derived within an appropriate theoretical frame of reference and third, develop new scientific tools, concepts, and theories which would facilitate reliable and valid study of human behavior is decisions making. The next concept is business environment. In the context of the business environment, it is defined as the research provides the needs that guides managers make informed decisions to deal with problems successfully, collect facts or observations, and to present them in a systematic and logical manner. Second, is research is basically a human activity in individual process of discovering something new. It could products, methods, a service, a system, etc. मेथड्समध्ये त्या ठिकाणी रिसर्चमध्ये काय असतं एक तर त्या ठिकाणी एक प्रॉब्लेम हे करावा लागतो घ्यायचा आणि तो प्रॉब्लेम त्या ठिकाणी त्याच्या जे असेल तर तो सॉल्व कसा करता येईल त्याचे वेगवेगळ्या मेथड्स आहेत त्याच्यानंतर सर्व्हिसेस त्याची सिस्टीम कशी हा पार्ट आपण त्या ठिकाणी तर ऑब्झर्वेशन ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह ऑफ रिसर्च The first objective of research to seeking insight into an observed phenomena and explain its logic and reasoning of happens. Second, है there can, for example, relying probability. Second, to help the mankind in solve the problem faced from time to time and make life more comfortable and in telling, for example, telecommunications and e-ticketing. Next, to explore the possibility and methodology of doing things which have not been done so far but are useful for the mankind in general and in a particular to continually improve the efficiency of present systematic and producers in any field, for example, compensation requirements and retentions policies. Next, objective tests or changes existing belief notions extra which have been empirically proved so far, which the flicks of time and therefore need to be tested again for relevance in the change context environment. For example, relationship between intelligence, and creativity. Explore new areas that might have become relevant or even might become relevant in the near future. For example, alternative source of energy to reduce carbon emissions, and analysis the past data for discover trends, patterns, and relationship. For example, business perform price of stock, oil, etc. Expanding characteristics of good research. तर गुड रिसर्च कशा म्हणायचा की त्या ठिकाणी the good research depends the dependable data that are derived by efficiently conducting practice and that can be used reliable for management decisions making. There are several defining aspects of this significance method which are mentioned below. First is purpose of the research should be clearly defined. The main objective of the business research, the problem addressed, or the decisions to be made should be clearly defined and sharply defined in terms as clear cuts as possible. Getting this in writing invaluable even in instance where the same person serve as a researchers and decisions maker. The first good researcher फर्स्ट कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आहे त्या ठिकाणी पर्पज ऑफ द रिसर्च शुड बी क्लिअर डिफाईन. जे काही आपण हेतू आहे आपला रिसर्चचा तो त्या ठिकाणी क्लिअर असावा. सेकंड आहे त्या ठिकाणी रिसर्च प्रोसेस शुड बी डिटेल. ज्याच्यात आपण रिसर्च करणार आहोत जी काही प्रोसेस असेल किंवा डेटा वगैरे असेल त्याच्यावर आपण कुठली मेथड त्या ठिकाणी यूज करणार आहोत ह्या गोष्टीमध्ये त्या ठिकाणी डिटेल्स त्या ठिकाणी द्यायच्या. तर द रिसर्च मेथड्स विच आर use must be explained in sufficient detail to permit another research to repeat the research expect when secret is imposed. Research reports should reveal with candor the source of data and the means of which by which they were obtained. Omissions of significant procedural details makes it difficult or impossible to estimate the validity and reliability of the data and justify weakness the confidence of the leaders in the research itself as well as in recognition based on the research. रिसर्च याच्यामध्ये आपलं त्या ठिकाणी जी प्रोसेस असेल ती डिटेल्समध्ये. सेकंड थर्ड आहे त्या ठिकाणी कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स रिसर्च. रिसर्च डिझाईन शुड बी दोली प्लॅन. द स्टेप्स इन द डिझाईन of the research must be well planned to produce results that are as objective as possible. When a sampling of the populations is known, the report should include events considering the degree of representativeness of the sample. A survey of option, opinions or recollections would not be used when more reliable evidence is available from documentary source or by direct observations. Bibliographic search should be those and complete as possible. Experiment should have satisfactory controls. Direct observation should be recorded in writing as soon as possible after the event. Report should be made to maximize the influence of personal basis in selected and recording data. For high ethical standards use the works of researchers, it often independence and has significant latitude in designing and executing research projects. A research design that includes safeguards against causing mental or physical harm to participants and makes data integrity of first promoted should be highly valued. Carefully considerations must be given to those research situations in which there is a possibility of a physical or uh, psychological explanations. नेक्स्ट आहे की लिमिटेशन्स ओपनली रिव्हल. जे काही रिसर्च करण्यासाठी जे काही लिमिटेशन असेल त्या ठिकाणी हे कराव्या, विचारात घेण्यात याव्या. तर limitation open level the flaws in procedural design and their estimates effect on the findings should be report with complete frankness. There are very few perfect research designs. Some of the imperfections may have little effect on the ability and reliability of the data. Others may value them entirely. His or her experience in analysis data should provide a basis for estimating the influence of design flaws. As decisions makers, we should question the value of research where no limitations are reported. 6. Proper analysis to meet the decisions makers' needs. Extensive analysis of the data should be done to reveal its significance or what makers call instance. The methods of analysis used should be appropriate. The extent which this criticism is made is frequently a good measures of the compliance of the research. Accurate analysis of the data is the most difficult phase of research for the reliability and reliability of data should be checked carefully. The data should be classified in ways that see the research in reaching a conclusion and clearly reveal the finding that have led to those conclusions. Next step, this is a finding present clarity. Findings presented clearly. The presentations of reports gives events of the integrity and capability of the research. For example, language that is distinct, clear, and precise restrictions that are clearly drawn and held with appropriate reservations and apparent efforts to achieve maximum objectively tend to leave favorable impressions of the research with the decisions makers. Generalizations that the outturn the events on which they are based. And next characteristics is conclusion should be justified. जे आपण काही कन्क्लुजन म्हणजे निष्कर्ष काढले असेल तर ते कन्क्लुजन आपण जस्टिफाय केले पाहिजे. त्याचं एक्सप्लेनेशन त्या ठिकाणी दिलं पाहिजे. कारण conclusion should be provided to that the extent only for which there is support of the data. Researchers are many times tempted to provide conclusions on the basis of their personal experience and their interpretations. A good research should always describe the situations under which their conclusions seem to valid. 9. Research should be carried out by experienced research. Researchers should be experienced and should have a good image of conducting research and should be a person with honesty. This will lead to more confidence in the research. So the leaders of the research report should be provided with sufficient information about the research so that they can judge the trustworthiness of the research study and the value of the research study. For these reasons, the information about the qualifications of the research should be provided in the research report. ओके, तर हे 9 जे आहे त्या ठिकाणी रिसर्चचे कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आहे. फर्स्ट कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक्स सांगितलं की जो काही आपला प्रपोजल्स असतो तो क्लिअर असावा, त्याची प्रोसेस त्या ठिकाणी डिटेल असावी. त्याच्यानंतर रिसर्च डिझाईन जे आपल्या त्या प्लॅनिंगने त्या ठिकाणी आपण केलं पाहिजे. हाही देखील स्टँडर्ड यूज असलं पाहिजे. लिमिटेशन ओपनली रिव्हल केलं पाहिजे. अशा प्रकारे हे जे आहे. त्याच्यानंतर नेक्स्ट पॉईंट आहे इम्पॉर्टंट रिसर्च कन्सेप्ट. Deductive reasoning Reasoning is a top-down approach that leads to the specific form generally. It means that in an empirical research, a researcher begins a study by taking into considerations the theories that have been already developed related to a topic of interest. The detective approach helps researchers to think about research that has been already conducted and to be develop an idea about extending or adding to that theoretical function foundation from the board idea. The researchers works to develop an hypothesis. The new study by the research will be test this new hypothesis. For this purpose, specific data is to be collected and analysis is the new study, which will form the basis of the test of the hypothesis. Within the help of the data collected, it will either confirm the hypothesis or it will not. It is also important to note that a hypothesis that is not confirmed has not been proven false. Example of dictating all students at global school are disciplines. Sarah is student is global school and second Sarah is a discipline conclusion. The first हा जो हे जे हे आपण करतो रिसर्च त्याला म्हणतात डिटेक्टिव्ह रिझनिंग. नेक्स्ट टाइप्स आहेत ना इम्पॉर्टन्स आहे ते इंडक्टिव्ह रिझनिंग. The inductive reasoning means is a bottom-up approach that moves to the general from the specific. In this case, specifically refers to the observations made by the research in his study that eventually leads to both generalizations and theory. An inductive research methods approach starts with specific observations made by a researcher who begins a study with an idea or a topic of interest, just as in a deductive approach to research. But in an inductive approach, the researcher does not consider related theories very much into the research from the observations or measures that the research conduct generally in the field and not in a laboratory setting. Clusters of data or patterns begin to emerge from this identify regularity or patterns the market. Researchers generates themes that come with analysis of the data. Next, in induction, we draw our conclusions on the basis of one or more particular facts or piece of events. The conclusion explains that the facts and the facts support conclusions. For example, suppose the students in a particular school are not able to score good marks. Suppose the students in a particular good school are not able to score good marks. This fact, student is not score well in the exam under circumstances, and we ask what the student should not score well in the examination. One possible answer to the questions can be that the students did not prepare well for the exam. This conclusions is an inductions. The natures of induction explain that the conclusions is only a hypothesis. It is only one expansion among many other, but there are other expansions so that fit the facts just as well. To instead details the various regions for declining sales form of a firms in a month can be: first is regional retailers did not have sufficient stock to fill customer requests during the promotional period. Second, a strike by the employees of the trucking firms prevented the stock from arriving in time for the promotions to be effective. And third, Category 5 hurricanes close all the retail locations in the regions for the 10 days during the months. The next point is the language research. कुठल्याही त्या ठिकाणी जे आपण रिसर्च करत असतो तर त्यावेळेसला लँग्वेज बेस त्या ठिकाणी असा लागतो आणि लँग्वेज च्या चालेल त्या ठिकाणी फर्स्ट आहे त्या ठिकाणी त्यात इन रिसर्च वी first try to know what is so as a further understand clarify and forecast phenomena also they can be different questions. What will be marketing department reactions to the inflexibly work schedule, or why did the stock market price surge high when all normal indicators suggest it would go down? To answer these questions, we must have some standard definitions like who are the members in of the marketing department, clearly of professional, what types of reaction, what are the normal indicators. Such questions require the use of different concept construction and definitions. There are other terms also used so by researchers to converse about applied and theoretical marketing problems. Concept they should be a common ground properly understand and communicate information about object and events. Concepts are useful in this context. A concept conveys that the meanings or characteristics associated with the certain object, even situations, behaviors, and conditions. Classify objects or events on the basis of common characteristics and categorizing them creates concept. Suppose when you think of a document or an ATM card, that comes to mind is not a single example but your collected memories of all documents and ATM cards from which you abstract a set of specific and defined characteristics. We get such meaning from uh, our experience, and we then use words be as label to describe them. For example, we see a person passing and identify that he is walking, skipping, running, or crawling. All these moments represent different concepts. We can also abstract by making use of certain usually elements by which we identify that the moving object is an alert male rather than an alert female or a truck or a horse. We use various concepts daily in our all the activities. Next source of different concepts. Use concepts that are very common and it's now in general use have been developed. Over time, though, sharing language use, we obtain them to personal experience, but there is a difficulty to define uncommon concept. This problem can be solved by borrowing from other language or to borrow from other fields. For example, art, impression. For example, the concept of gravitations is borrowed from physics and used in marketing also to explain why people shop where they do. Next आहे त्या ठिकाणी importance of concept of research. रिसर्चची महत्वाची कन्सेप्ट काय तर in research hypotheses are designed with the help of concept. We collect data using this measurements concept. The research can be successful depending on how visible we have conceptualized our problem and how well the concepts can be understood. For example, when we conduct a market analysis of the customers, the questions of consumer loyalty, we should be able to capture the attitudes of the people clearly. The attitudes are difficult to measure it. We must try to measure those using concept carefully. The difficulty lies in developing concept that other can understand well. We may, for example, ask participants for an estimate of their family's total spending, but this concept is confusing as it does not talk about time frame or different items or spending. So we need to limit the concept of proper mention. First is time frame, such as fortnightly, weekly, or yearly. Second, spending is done by the head of the family to head of family only by all family members, and other classifications regarding spending on different items which are useful for this research purpose. Second, I think construction concept are defined by the degree to which the concept does not has something objective to refer. For example, a table is an objective concept. We can point to a table and we have image of the characteristics of all tables in our mind. But take an abstract concept likely personality. It is much more difficult to visualize. We can call such abstract concept or constructions. A constructions is an image or abstract idea specifically invent for a given research and or their theory building purpose. Constructs are made up of a simple and more concrete concept, especially when we cannot directly observe the complex concept. For example, the construct of satisfy service consumer, different concept which helps in enabling the satisfactions of a particular consumer. Definitions, confusions about the meaning of concept can destroy a research study's value without the research or client even knowing it. It would have different meaning to the parties involved, then the parties are not communicating well. The definitions are not method to solve this problem. The two kinds of definitions are directly definitions and operational defines indirectly determination. We define the concept by a synonyms, but directly definition use the use circular definitions which may not be satisfactory for the purpose of research. For research purpose, we measures the concept and constructions, and this makes use of proper definitions. Operational definitions. An operational definition is the definitions which extract criterion to test the probability within should study in this context. So variable is a symbol or an event, the characteristics, trait, or attributes that can be measures and to which we assign catalyst values. For convenience purpose, we assign numerical value to a variable based on the properties of variables. For example, some variables have only two values called, which means the probability is either present or absent, married, unmarried, or equated and equated have two values only, which is usually 0 and 1. There can be more than two categories also. The data fit into one of the categories and the variable are set to be discrete, since only certain value are possible and atomic variable. For example, there but it's assigned 5 and Honda is assigned 6 provides no, no options for. Next named variable with the variable manipulated by the research, thereby causing an effect on the depend variable. Second, depend variable DV, the measures predicate or otherwise mentioned variable accepted to be affected by manipulations of an independent variable. Motoring variables means a second independent variable where to have a significant contributions or contingent effect of the original set IV-DV relationship. External variables are variable to assume to exclude from a research study. Control a variable induction to help interpret the relationship between variables. Intervening variables, a factor that affects that the observed phenomena but cannot be measured or manipulated. Uh, Prepositions and hypotheses. We define proposition as a statement about observable phenomena or concept which may be just as a true or false. The proposition becomes hypothesis when it is formulated for empirical testing. Thus, a hypothesis is a proposition which can be experimentally verified and has defined practical confuse. A hypothesis can be descriptive, relational, or explanatory. Next, what is a strong hypothesis? A strong hypothesis should be fulfill three conditions. The strong hypothesis means आणि त्याच्या three conditions आहेत त्या ठिकाणी. First is equate for its purpose, and second testable, and for third आहे better than its rival. तर ह्या थ्री कन्सेप्ट ज्या आहे कंडिशन स्ट्रॉंग हायपोथेसिसच्या असतात. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट आहे theory. A theory is a coherent set of general propositions used as principles of extensions of the relationship of certain observed phenomena for our research. We have many theories which form the basis, and we use them style to explain or forecast what happens around us. Our theory should be a proper fit from the situation. Only then we can be successfully in our explanations and forecast. Next, hypothetical models. The terms model is used in business research and other fields of business to symbolize phenomena on this basis of similarity concept. A model usually represents a systematic system that is formulated to study different parts of that system or the complete system. There is a difference between models and theories. The role of theory is extensions, whereas the role of a model is representations. A model purpose is to increase our understanding, facilitate predictions, and control environmental complexity. In this chapter, main summary is research is a significant study which investigate or discover something new. The good research follows the particular process to explore the insight of observed phenomena. The objective of research vary for individual and organizations. Good research is based on significance, scientific methods, systematic characteristics of a good research. The language of research including concept, construct, definition, variable, positions, and hypothesis theory, and goods various models. In this research main terms is what is meant by research. The research is human activity engaging in individual pursuits of discovering something new. Second concept, a concept conveys the meaning of characteristics associated with certain objects, events, situations, behaviors, and conditions. Third है construct. Constructs is an image or abstract idea specially invent for a given research or theory building purpose. A variable is a symbol of an event and characteristics, trait, or attributes that can be measured and to which we can assign categories value. Second hypothesis is a descriptive, relational, or explanatory positions which can be explanatory verified and has defined particular conventions and model symbolic representations of a related situation. In this topic, main question is what is mean by research? List the characteristics of good research. Then, what do you mean by induction and deductions? Explain different types of variable money. Next, I think can define business research have and have. What are objective of doing research? Okay. समजलं तर याच्यावर आणखीन त्या ठिकाणी क्वेश्चन विचारले जातात. What is the difference between concept and construct? What is the hypothesis? How modeling help in research? Do you understand for what is meant by research? त्याच्यानंतर what is the deductive reasoning and what is the inclusive reasoning? नेक्स्ट चॅप्टर आहे याच्यातला रिसर्च मेथोडॉलॉजी मधला the importance of research in management decisions. तर मेन जे आपण रिसर्च करत असतो त्याचं रिसर्चचं इम्पॉर्टन्स काय आपण ह्याच्यामधलं त्याच्यानंतर आपण ह्या चॅप्टरमध्ये युनिटमध्ये अभ्यासणार आहे टॅक्टिक्स ऑफ मॅनेजमेंट डिसिजन्स सेकंड इम्पॉर्टन्स ऑफ रिसर्च इन मॅनेजमेंट डिसिजन्स मेकिंग मॅनेजमेंट areas of decisions making, types of research and management decisions, limitations of business research, new trends in decisions making, the research summary. आपण ऐकतो decisions making म्हणजे काय तर decision making means is a well timed process of arriving at the best possible course of actions for a problem within a reasonable period of time. Decision making involve two or more alternatives because if there is only one choice, there is no decisions to make. In this chapter, main objective is decisions making. The first objective आहे त्या ठिकाणी understand the process of decisions making, examine the characteristics of management decisions. Identify new trends in decisions making, the research characteristics of management decisions, important features and intelligence exercise. The process of decision making is basically of human individual activity. It is a mental exercise which consider and evaluates the alternatives for achieving certain business objectives. Second, a process of selection. Decisions making is basically a process of selections. It chooses the best alternative course from various alternative course of actions to optimum business performance. And third, evaluations of alternatives before um, taking any final decisions about anything. The decisions make solutions, various benefits and cost of the different alternatives. The decisions is always result oriented. Decisions are meant for implementing manageable workload. No decisions can be without a purpose. Marginal decisions is taken to realize certain business objective. Next, I take the importance of research in management decisions making. Research and cooperative strategy. Nowadays, great stress is laid down on integrating research with corporate strategy. Research has three major strategic purpose: to expand existing business support includes modify productions, improve customer acceptations, or adapting them to different market standards or regulations, using different or new raw materials or change in the manufacturing process, and dealing with the regulatory activities such as safety considerations and environmental complaints. Business support also includes developing new product and manufacturing process to improve competitive positions with the existing business structure. Next, I can explain new business. It involves providing opportunities for a new business or using existing for or a new technology. The news business may be new to the company or new the other words. Similarly, the new technology may be new to the world or new only to the companies. Boarding and depending technology capabilities, which may consent to exiting or new technologies depending on the perceived opportunities and the company's comparative positions. Research-based management decisions for positions in industry stage and decisions making the business machines of the research at the early stage of the industry life cycle is to help launch the new business and establish its positions by indicating the validity of product concept is one or more applications and by explaining the validity of the manufacturing process. Growth stage and decisions making during the growth stage. The purpose of research is to help grow the business and improve or sustain its competitive positions and applications or by enhancing the applications protection of existing production, the improvement features and reduction costs. Manufacturing stage and decisions making when the industry becomes manufacture, the strategic role of the research usually shifts to one of defending comparative positions by exiting the different protection of product or for using on cost reductions. Management may decide to review the business and this may also become the responsibility of research. Line stage and decisions making in a different industry, the classical role of research has been cost reductions and providing the customer support necessary to safeguard probability. Strategy perhaps a research trust in the against phase is to remove the product or technology of manufacturing and drive completes out of the business rather than a driven out. Okay, thank you.